An increasing number of wild boar populations exert an increasing amount of pressure on broad swaths of woodland every night. The unrestrained growth of these creatures' populations, despite the fact that they are a part of the natural environment, has the potential to create major ecological disruption. Wildlife control personnel who have received training conduct routine patrols after dark, employing both old methods and contemporary equipment, with the goal of assisting in the restoration of equilibrium. In the course of one of these nocturnal operations, a group of people put up enormous metal traps in strategic locations where wild boars had been active in the past. As a result of their design, the traps are able to effectively and efficiently contain the animals. The officer arrived at the scene to discover that one of the traps had been activated, and it was holding a number of wild boars. In spite of the fact that the method is efficient, it offers a challenging reality: the struggle to find solutions that are both sustainable and humane in order to conserve the forest while also managing animal populations. Despite the fact that traps were used, reports continued to pour in from farms in the surrounding area. The crew was called by a local farmer who was afraid that the animals were getting closer to agricultural land, which would put the crops and livestock in danger. It was necessary for the team to modify their strategy in response to the growing activity zone. During the night, visibility can be difficult to achieve. In response, the officers switched to a thermal imaging scope, allowing for improved tracking in complete darkness. With the use of the thermal scope, heat signatures may be identified, transforming the landscape into a distinct outline of moving objects. Wildlife teams are able to locate animals with the assistance of this technology without causing any disruption to the ecosystem around them. A small herd of wild boars was observed approaching a conservation area as the officer went stealthily through the field, following tracks and thermal indications. Additionally, the officer came upon the herd. Action was essential to prevent future harm to this vulnerable zone. After that, a succession of decisions that were carefully calculated ensued. During every single action and every single moment of observation, the primary intention was to steer the situation in the direction of a secure conclusion. A single shot was fired, not as a demonstration of victory, but rather as a part of a responsibility to conserve the local plants and animals that are native to the region. In addition to causing broad harm to agricultural zones and woodland undergrowth, wild boars are known to cause considerable damage. On top of that, they are capable of carrying diseases that are harmful to domestic animals as well as other types of wildlife. In this particular incident, the interaction led to the herd being neutralized prior to its arrival at the protected site. While performing a tough task in stressful settings, the officer maintained his composure and remained focused throughout the entire process. Following the conclusion of the event, there was a return to silence in the region. As dawn broke, the outcomes of the prior night's efforts became readily apparent. After being threatened in the past, the forest began to show early indications of recovery. The new growth was not disrupted in any way. The intervention, albeit being challenging, had accomplished what it set out to do. Insight into the important work that wildlife control officers do, which is sometimes overlooked, is provided by this narrative. These experts are responsible for making challenging choices in order to preserve the equilibrium between human activity and the preservation of the environment. In a different operation, a group of people used infrared cameras to keep track on the behavior of wild boars deep within a forest that was quite far away. As the sun began to set, a number of herds started migrating in the direction of a particular bait zone. Some of the older boars remained wary and observed from a distance, in contrast to the younger animals, which followed their moms without any hesitation. The decision to close the trap was made after thorough monitoring and careful planning of the strategy. In response to the activation of a remote control device, the metal gate was lowered, so ensuring the animal's safety within the enclosure. The monitoring and management of populations can be accomplished through a variety of methods, one of which is the non-lethal containment approach. Not only do these operations seek to reduce the number of animals, but they also seek to protect the long-term health of ecosystems that are shared by people and wildlife. In the hopes that it was helpful, we hope that this film sheds light on the difficulties and obligations that are associated with the management of wild boar populations. When a containment trap is activated, there is a loud bang that can be heard throughout the forest. Inside, a herd of wild boars becomes upset and begins to frantically circle in an attempt to find a way out of the situation. However hard they try, there is no way out of this situation. The following morning, a truck that is used for wildlife control arrives at the area in order to do an assessment of the issue. Dozens of wild boars of varying sizes are restrained within the heavy-duty trap that has been provided. In spite of the fact that some continue to display aggressive behavior, the structure remains unchanged. With its dusty gray coat and big sharp tusks, a massive dominant male is the focus of special attention. This guy is easily identifiable. The successful capture of this dominant animal is seen as a significant achievement, since it significantly lessens the possibility of coordinated devastation occurring in the future. In addition to the use of traps, wildlife teams will periodically take part in managed field operations that are intended to limit the number of boars in the area and restore ecological balance. It is possible for a single wild boar to break into a gallop over open plains, which can cause a distant shot that indicates the beginning of a controlled hunt operation. After that, there is yet another report from a firearm. Despite being struck, the animal continues to move ahead due to its instinct to survive, which requires people in charge of managing the situation to demonstrate ability, composure, and ethical behavior. Training is provided to hunting teams so that they can retain precision and safety while causing the least amount of damage to the environment. Some hunting dogs are stationed nearby in order to assist in the direction of another group of wild boars. As they make their way down a slope close to a road, the animals, which include both adults and piglets, disperse in a state of bewilderment. Traffic signs that are plastered with dust can be seen standing in their wake, which is a hint at the intensity of the pursuit. It is now time to continue the operation into the rugged terrain, where rapid gunfire can be heard. Despite their incredible speed, wild boars are constantly on the lookout for dry brush areas to take refuge in. In order to maintain control over such a highly intelligent and rapidly reproducing species, continual efforts are required, which require a combination of perseverance, knowledge, and flexibility. A massive, tired pig eventually passes out on frozen ground, signaling the conclusion of a high-stakes pursuit that they had been engaged in. The people who are participating observe in silence from a distance, pondering the challenging but essential duty of population management. It is often necessary to rely on strong instincts rather than direct confrontation in order to locate targets that are concealed deep amid dense reeds or enormous cornfields. Before taking action, a hunter who has received proper training may come closer and make an assessment. Patience and sound judgment are equally as important as accuracy. When the dog's barking becomes more intense, it is frequently an indication that a boar has been cornered, possibly in a thicket near the shore of a lake at the time. In situations like this, making decisions quickly and responsibly is really necessary. The complexity of human connection with wildlife is brought to light by these activities, which, while necessary for the protection of agriculture and the maintenance of the equilibrium of local ecosystems, also serve those purposes. During a brief period of silence, a glance toward the snow-covered mountains in the distance provides a sense of perspective. The story of this ongoing struggle to manage wild boars is not one of conquering but rather of responsibility versus conquest. There is a complex and nuanced relationship that exists between humans and the natural world. It is often necessary to make difficult decisions about other species or landscapes in order to protect one species or landscape. It is not destruction that is the goal. Rather, it is cohabitation, which means discovering a path that is sustainable and respects all forms of life. We have high hopes that this film has supplied you with insightful information regarding the actual difficulties that are involved in the management of wild boar populations and the protection of ecosystems. You are appreciated for watching. If you found the video to be educational, I would appreciate it if you would consider following my channel by liking it, subscribing to it, and sharing it. Up until the next time.